Welcome again, live viewers. My name is Tessa Manuello. I was your host for the entire day of practice pitching round for the Global Legal Hackathon. And I am extremely delighted to welcome you to the closing session for this entire day of pitching in order to talk to you a little bit about legal creativity. So while live viewers are onboarding, I will briefly say a warm round of applause to all of the participants who have committed much time and efforts in order to showcase themselves today. And I would also like to thank all of the panelists, the legal creative panelists, who have very kindly donated from their time to give feedback to the teams. So without further ado, I will get started with the concept of legal creativity. And I will be also monitoring the YouTube channel. If you would like to interact with me directly, please note that this is possible. There is a live chat box right here. And you can put your comments, questions, and also please mention who you are and where you are located in the world. So that will help build more engagement and have better interaction. So let's talk about legal creativity. What is, maybe before I get started, just one last thing. My name is Tessa Manuello, and you might not really know my background. I was trained to be a lawyer. Today I am accredited as a mediator, so I am more into dispute resolution. I have been working in social justice in Canada for many years. I was trained in Europe, but I also got training in human rights in South Africa. And for the past 3 years, I have been doing extensive research about the potential of creativity in order to bring innovation in the legal field. This was a fairly long research, and I'm happy today to just touch the tip of the iceberg and to really deliver and share with you the core of what is creativity and how creativity can be useful in the legal field. So why creativity? Well, we live in complex times. The legal industry is changing. Some say that we will be seeing disruptive innovation in the legal industry. Some others might debate that the revolution is not going to be so disruptive, but might be more progressive. One way or the other, there will be tremendous changes in the industry, given we as lawyers and legal professionals, we have taken sort of too much time before starting to innovate, and we are sort of way behind other industries which are already using the digital and technology to the full potential that those technology are allowing today. So we need a renewal. A renewal is needed for different reasons, but the first of which is that we see new legal needs. And this is taken from a report that was issued in Canada in 2014, a report that was led by Fred Eden, who was the first in-house counsel to take the lead at the Canadian Bar Association as chairman. And because of his position as in-house counsel, he considers himself a client of legal services. And he started his a tremendous research on the field with clients, asking clients what are their legal needs. And that was really a turning point in the legal industry, because this report was then followed in the United States, recently in France as well, and in many jurisdictions across the world. And what was most insightful for me was to realize that clients are really asking for a different kind of legal services. Of course, they want lower cost. That is fairly obvious to everyone who is watching this live right now, that legal costs are an obstacle in access to justice. But what is most surprising is that it's not just about the cost, but it's also about the certainty of the cost. So what we see in the research is that clients are expecting to pay a certain amount of money for a legal service, but the frustration comes not just by the amount that needs to be spent, but by the fact that it is always changing and you need to pay more to pursue the case in front of a judge, for instance. So it's not just the amount, but also the certainty. The information is extremely important for clients. They want clearer information, and not just about the results, but also about the process. And they want to participate in the process. They want to be updated on a regular basis, and they want to contribute, not just give the entire file to the lawyer and wait for the lawyer to get the job done. So that is one of the first insights from this report that I would like to mention to you. And the second insight is more related to the relationship between client and lawyer. And what we see is that clients want more personal contact with their lawyer. And what we mean by personal contact is they want more access to their lawyer, more empathy. We are talking a lot about emotional intelligence. They want lawyers that are able to understand really their needs, and not just their needs, but also their situation, the circumstances in which the legal issue has arisen. So we see a change as well in the perception of lawyers from the client perspective. So there are challenges, that's for sure, in the legal industry. We have a lot to catch up in terms of implementing technology and the digital, and this is why you are here participating to the Global Legal Hackathon and to the Practice Moot. But there are tremendous opportunities. And according to you, what kind of opportunities there are? Of course, you're going to mention tech. Of course, you're going to mention the digital. Of course, you're going to mention creativity and innovation. But what I would like to point out today is differentiation. There is the future of legal services belongs to the ones who will manage to differentiate themselves on the market. And what I mean by that is investing in your competitive advantages, whether you have a legal startup, whether you are a lawyer, a solo practitioner, or a law firm, whether it's a small law firm, medium, large, differentiation is key. What we see from the user perspective, and I have done the research myself, is that most of the lawyers and law firms look alike. The criteria for selecting a lawyer is mostly based on cost, meaning users are looking for the cheaper legal services on the market. But when we evaluate the satisfaction of users of legal services, we see that cost is not the only element that they consider. And as a matter of fact, they really appreciate paying more for a more personalized service, for someone who fully understands their needs and allow them to participate also in their case. So how can you differentiate yourself on the legal market? Here is the potential of creativity as a target outcome in the legal field. Creativity is a process, but is also an outcome. And to get a creative outcome, you need to reach 3 criteria. This is where you want to take notes. To differentiate yourself, you need to aim for novelty. Why are we sort of stuck in the legal industry at the moment? Because we keep doing the same things over and over again and expecting different results. This is close to insanity. We will never get different results by keeping the same processes in place, by keeping the same legal training as well, by sustaining those traditions that have been in place for so long in the practices, in the legal practices. So to differentiate yourself, you need to aim for novelty. But you also need to aim for relevance. And that is one of the criteria for creativity that was extremely insightful to me. Relevance, meaning you need to address the right problem. We can be novel, but if we miss the problem that you are trying to solve as a legal startup, you are trying to solve a problem, an access to justice problem, or you are trying to enhance user experience. Whatever you are trying to achieve with your legal startup, there is a problem that you are trying to solve. Hence, the solution needs to be new, but it needs to solve the problem. So there is a danger by aiming at novelty of losing relevance. So you really need to balance those two criteria. And the last, and not the least, is originality. That's the last component for creative outcomes. Originality, meaning really going wild with your ideas, not restraining yourself, and using the full potential of your imagination. And again, originality is not something that you come up, you wake up one day and you have an aha moment. Aha moment is not eureka, is more of something that is being built by constant practice. Practicing creativity in your daily life, practicing novelty, seeking novelty, assessing whether the new ideas are relevant for your project. So you need to aim for originality and to build those muscles inside your brain and inside your life in order to aim for originality is in a much easier way. The problem is today we don't have so much time, right, to innovate in the legal industry, given we are so far behind. At least I feel we are so far behind comparing to other industries. And I say that because I have seen what happened at the Web Summit, which is the largest tech conference in the world, where Legal Creative was featured in November. And I have seen Uber doing partnership with NASA to fly taxis over Los Angeles this year, actually. So we are really, I mean, we can fly cars and we still cannot access justice. We cannot access our rights, or with a tremendous obstacles to overcome. So we are under time pressure to innovate. And I believe that was one of the reasons for the Global Legal Hackathon to be initiated, because we really need to move fast in innovating as legal professionals as well. This is why I suggest improvisation as a tool to enhance creativity. And you might be surprised if I talk about improvisation. I have been personally practicing theatrical improvisation for many years, and I've been very interested in also the history of improvisational theater and music. But it's not just for artistic purposes. It is also a technique that once you become aware that you are improvising your life, and especially as an entrepreneur, you are improvising every day, every single moment you are improvising in order to be at service of your company, to serve your company, for your company to flourish. And improvisation is the art of instantly taking a decision and acting on it. Hence, you need to develop spontaneity, which is extremely important as an entrepreneur, to be spontaneous. To be able to seize opportunities in the moment. You need to be also attentive. What we mean by attentive is you need to be aware, you need to be present in order to make those connections, unexpected connections, whether with people, but ideas and concepts. You will be very surprised of and I'm sure you have lived those experiences as well, of having this aha moment. Well, it's a mix of being spontaneous and aware and attentive. And of course, improvisation as a tool is about being flexible, adjusting constantly, adapting to situations, adapting whenever you have a challenge. Whenever you have the challenge, you might want to seek for novelty, and that requires flexibility as well. So this is really the tip of the iceberg of the model. I will show you now how the entire model is integrated. And if you're interested, I will be happy to get your comments and questions, because I understand this might be quite far from a legal training. But here is a model that I have developed, which can be called the creative loop. Is a model based on creativity, improvisation, and problem solving. So whenever you are faced with a challenge, whether as an entrepreneur in your legal startup, whether as a lawyer serving a client, and you see that you are faced with a problem, the first step is, before jumping to solutions, to best identify the problem. This is something that we tend as humans to forget. We tend to jump to solutions too fast and then find solutions to solve a problem that is actually not the real problem. So taking some time to identify the problem is the first step, and then generating an idea that is creative in order to better solve the problem. An idea that is creative, meaning novel, relevant, and original. But it's not just about generating an idea, because I can generate many ideas right now in my little telephone booth in WeWork Montreal. But if I don't execute them, they're just ideas in my mind, or ideas on a paper, or ideas on a Post-it. What really matters, and this is where you're going to make a real difference, is to execute the solution. The solution meaning the most relevant idea that you came up with to solve the problem. And if you're a very savvy improviser, you are at the same time identifying a problem, generating multiple ideas, selecting the one that is most novel, relevant, and original, and you instantly execute this idea, which is the solution that you think will solve the problem. You stay aware, you check whether the problem is improving, has been solved. If it has, fine, you can move on to the next problem. As an entrepreneur, you will see there are many challenges on the way to success. But if the problem is not solved, then you start again the loop, creative loop. What is the real problem? Maybe I missed it. Maybe I missed the problem. Generate ideas, as many ideas as you can, and there are lots of techniques that you can use. Of course, brainstorming, but there are so many other tools and techniques to generate ideas and execute the solution with the philosophy of improvisation, by being spontaneous, attentive, and flexible. Thank you, Brandon, for commenting on the slide. I have a little quote, which is coming from a Japanese concept, which is that nothing, and this is a quote that I created myself, nothing is perfect, yet everything is beautiful. And the philosophy behind it is you will never get to perfection. Of course, practice makes perfect, but that is an ideal. But instead of waiting for perfection, just get started. Start somewhere, and the path to perfection is a beautiful path of discovery, self-discovery, of connection with other people and individuals. And so I strongly encourage you in your endeavor to build a legal tech startup, to take action, and even if it's not perfect, some is better than none. So that is it for today. Thank you so much for listening to this presentation about legal creativity. That was a very superficial presentation, I admit. I hope you took something out of it. I look forward to hearing your feedback and comments. You can send me an email at tessa@legalcreatives.com, and I will stay here for a few minutes to answer any questions that you may have, that you can type in the little chat box right here. I would be happy to answer any other questions about the day, the pitches, legal creatives, and so on. Any questions, comments? Feel free. Now is your time. Hi again, here I am. So while we are waiting for comments, questions, let me just thank you again for being here on this live presentation about legal creativity. Thank you for being here today, for supporting all of the Global Legal Hackathon finalists who participated in those practice rounds. I hope you took something away from it, something interesting, insightful, that you've learned something. The idea for this practice round was not just to give you practice, but also for everyone to learn from what it is to build a legal tech startup. For everyone also to see what kind of projects are being developed, and to help each other to make more meaningful connections, even if we are in different countries and even continents. What I have found in my entrepreneurial journey is never underestimate the power of connections. Do not hesitate to contact people, send them email, ask them for a telephone conversation. You will be greatly surprised by the response and the generosity as well. I believe that today we have seen a very promising solution, and very excited to see what's going to unfold for each of them in New York and after New York. The idea is to keep going innovation as fast as we can in the legal field, so we can all together contribute to solving access to justice, all contribute to enhancing user experience. And I strongly encourage you to look at Maria's opening session about legal design. She's putting up a great legal design challenge in Spain at mid-April. Legal design, I believe, holds great promises for enhancing user experience in the legal field, and all of the legal tech startups will, I believe, need to incorporate legal design in their solutions to make it friendly for the users. It's not because it's legal that it has to be boring and tedious. Let's make it original, let's make it new, let's make it more colorful, and that's what I hope I have inspired you to do using this presentation. Brandon is asking in the little chat box, what advice do you have for legal creative who face opposition from the country legal profession regulator? I have an office manager who is sending congratulations from Puerto Rico. Thank you so much for putting that word. Very nice of you. You have a question about essential team members that I would recommend as startup beside lawyers. So here are a few things. I'm going to start with the last question and circle back to Brandon's question. So team members, if you're in legal tech and you're an only lawyer team, this is going to be a challenge. You need to have a diversity of professionals in your founding team. Ideally, I would recommend no overlap in the skills or knowledge, so everyone can fully contribute to its maximum potential and share insights with other team members. In my personal experience, I have always preferred working in small teams. So having just one team member having a specific skill in order to manage more easily the interactions. The more people you have, the more interactions you're going to need to manage, and the more potential arguments as well you will need to deal with. Whereas having a smaller team is, I find, much easier and efficient. In terms of skills, of course, if you are doing legal tech, you need technologists. This is the first requirement. Nevertheless, you can get started with a freelancer or someone you subcontract to get started, to validate your hypothesis while you are interviewing potential technologists to be a founding member with you. You will for sure need someone in marketing. This is almost compulsory. There is no business across any of the industries who can succeed without having marketing. So you will need someone in marketing, and very likely at some point you will need someone in sales, which is not exactly the same as marketing. It's more like customer acquisition, which we see in the judge list of criteria for the Global Legal Hackathon. User acquisition is an extremely important component, and for a good reason, because when you run a business, you need to have clients who will generate revenue. And for a legal creative who face opposition from the country legal profession regulator, the advice I have is to do a lot of educational events, such as the one we've put up together today with your help, Brandon, as well, to really be active in your community by organizing events, whether in person or online. I personally like online events a lot. I find them to be much more efficient. But of course, in-person events are also extremely important. So you have to consider eventually a mix of both. And those events needs to be, the intention behind is to demystify legal tech, to demystify your real intentions, which is, I know, to solve the access to justice issue, and to have those discussions and to bring everyone to the table around a few speakers or a few themes, so you can really start to educate more your local community as to the potential of technology for lawyers. And this is why at Legal Creative we do one global event every 2 months, where we feature many startups from across the world. We also feature some lawyers who have a more innovative approach to their managing the business, because at the end of the day, a law firm is a business. We also feature research topics, and it's a good way for us to connect across the world, to get to know what's happening, to get to know who are the leaders or who are on track to becoming leaders in this field, to learn from their experience and to share with them and to build partnerships as well. So feel free to join the Legal Creative community if this is something of interest to you. Any other questions, comments? I hope this answered well the questions. I will remain available for any more ideas, questions, and in the meantime, let me say that the next event is probably already online in the Legal Creative website. Let me just check, so you can save the date in your agenda to attend the next event. Oh my God. So legalcreatives.com. /p/attend. And you will find all of the dates of the future global events, and the next of which is going to be on May 31st. And then we are jumping to July 26th, September 27th. So about one every 2 to 3 months. Okay, so I see the level of interaction is somehow lower. Then I will cut this live streaming and say again, thank you for being here, and I look forward to exchanging further until the final round in New York, and also beyond that. I encourage you to join in this legal creative community to continue learning and sharing what's happening in legal tech, legal creativity, legal design, and so on. Thank you, Brandon, for the answer. Very appreciated. Have a beautiful evening wherever you are in the world. Take care, and we'll see you very soon. Bye-bye.